Hey everyone, welcome to Danny Chats. This is episode number 13, and today I'm joined by Armin. Hi Armin, how's it going?
Hi, Danny. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Where are you calling from?
Calling from Iowa, U.S.
Nice, nice. And what's the weather like out there for you?
I think it's pretty chilly. I want to say around 10 degrees Celsius, maybe.
Yeah, it's funny because I was speaking
But
to someone from America last week, and they're in California, so it's completely different.
oh, way warmer, way more sun than here. I mean, we just got our first snowfall just Friday.
Oh wow, nice, nice. All right, so you're here because you had a heart transplant, is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So what kind of led to the needing of that?
Oh man, it's like a long journey, really.
Yeah,
It
of course.
started when I was around 15 or so. Uh, Ended up going to a primary care physician, and it's pretty much like a GM for you guys,
Yeah.
or GP, I mean.
Yeah, doctors,
Uh,
yeah.
and they wanted to see like why I couldn't really fully extend my arms. So I have like a it's kind of blockage between that, and that kind of led to more doctors really taking closer looks at it
Hmm.
and doing a blood test to see if there's any genetic markers that are not aligning right. And one of the neurologists at my university that I go to for at hospital, uh, she saw that there was a deletion within my genes that caused me to have muscular dystrophy.
Okay.
So the muscular dystrophy ended up causing the heart disease because of the weakening of the muscles.
Yeah.
So the cardiac tissues kind of got weaker and weaker, but then I never felt any symptoms.
No. So you
So
were fit and healthy apart
I was
from the mobility of your arms.
pretty much, yeah. I mean, I was fit, healthy, played football, did martial arts,
Yeah.
very active, and just kept positive with it all. But I chose not to believe any of it
Yeah.
because when you're fit, healthy, and you have no symptoms at all, you're like, this can't be true.
Yeah.
But after seeing multiple doctors and different hospitals and different places, and one doctor just tells me, you have this. You're like, no, this can't be true. It has
Yeah,
to be
of
something
course.
else.
Yeah.
So that kind of led to a long road of like exceptions, really, to really accepting what happened and why this is happening.
And roughly how old were you there again? Sorry.
That was about 15, 16.
Yeah, so it's a tough
So,
time because obviously, you're in your teenage years, you're just growing up, like
and
it's
you
not what
really
you
don't
need.
want to listen to other adults that much. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but that's when I started uh, really focusing on health more. I was always fit and always working out and making sure I stayed up to date with my health.
Yeah.
But that little, time era, it was just unbelievable to hear something like that. And then over the years, it was around I was about 17, turning 18 when I had my first pacemaker.
Okay.
And so my heart rate was about 36, 38, 40. That's
So,
very low.
so I know what a pacemaker is, but I don't really know how it works or how it's fitted, or could you explain a little bit of that?
So there's two different ways of the pacemaker being inserted.
Yeah.
So you can make a pocket either on around the left side, right underneath the breast,
Yeah.
or right above the pectoral muscle.
Okay.
So either way, it can be made into a pocket just within your muscle, and then there's different leads, so electrical wires going through and then attaching onto the inside of the walls of the heart.
It's absolutely crazy, isn't it?
Yes, it's unbelievable, especially when you see like how much technology and medicine has changed over the years.
Yeah.
You kind of are amazed because now instead of it being like this size, it's now this
Tiny.
thin. It looks like a pencil almost, like
Yeah.
the top of a pencil, and it can be wireless now too.
That's
So
mad.
it's unbelievable,
It's like Bluetooth to the heart.
pretty much. Just can't play music.
Yeah. That's mad.
But then, yeah, so I was about 17, 18 when I got my first pacemaker, and I had a low heart rate, and every doctor asked me if I was a runner. I
Yeah.
told them I can run if you want me to. That's about the only time.
Yeah. So again, sorry, just to go back to the pacemaker. The pacemaker goes in, and then that just keeps your heart regular. Is that what it's supposed to do?
Yes, so it's supposed to
Yeah.
stay within a certain range.
Yeah.
So ideally, you want to stay within around 60 to 80 within
Yeah.
that heart, range. But for some reason, my heart rate at that time was not doing anything. It was staying around 40. And if I exercise, maybe it goes up to 50, 60, or
Yeah.
even higher. I never really measured it back then. Uh, but then slowly after, I went on a skiing trip to Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
And this was right around when I was 19 years old. I ended up having a mini heart attack about
Wow.
11,000 feet above elevation. Uh, and I did not feel any of it.
No?
No, so I was just, I was about 11,000 feet, but it's like I couldn't really breathe that much.
Yeah.
So I saw a ski patrol right there and like the whole unit and just went inside the office and they did vitals on me. The first thing they measured was, my blood pressure, my heart rate, and my O2 stats.
Mm.
And my oxygen was about 88. That's kind of alarming at first. You're trying to figure out like, why is this? And then you look at the circumstances. You're 11,000 feet above sea level, so you're like altitude sickness maybe. And then the heart rate is what really alarmed them. I was at around 38,
Wow.
and they're looking at me like, what the hell is going on?
How are you
I
still
told them, no, no, no.
standing?
I'm like, it's okay, it's okay. This is normal for me. They're like, how? Like, it's unimaginable.
Yeah.
But then I tell them I have a pacemaker, and they're alarmed even more. They're trying to figure out like, why the hell are you even up here? Uh, And I mean, no doctor at the time would have even considered saying no to me because they know I'm active, I'm healthy, and
Yeah.
I'm out for an adventure.
Yeah, of course.
But they called my pediatrician at the time for my peds cardiology, and he said it's not alarming to him. He's not, you know, curious, or I mean, not curious, but like shocked that I'm there.
Yeah.
But then ended up, staying under control in the ER, getting lots of tests done, and just making sure I'm stable again.
Yeah.
But then after that time, uh, that's when my body, it's like I started actually feeling symptoms. So around when I was 17, my heart was about 3 times the normal size of a normal person.
Mm.
So you take your fist and just kind of 3 times the size of
So
your fist.
it's massive.
It was massive.
Yeah.
And seeing images of that, you're like, wow.
Yeah, I
And that's when
bet.
and that's when I started really accepting the fact that, all right, I have this heart condition. It's really time to crack down. And that's the reason I had my first pacemaker. But then after Colorado, it's when my health took a toll for the worst. I started getting a lot of edema, so a lot of water and fluid buildup,
Okay, yeah.
and
Whereabouts in particular?
mainly around like your stomach area,
Yeah, yeah.
and it started getting
Ankles.
more in the feet as well.
Yeah.
But it was really shocking to me because I saw my body shifting. So imagine like you're sitting in the mirror, and your body is like an S shape.
Yeah, yeah.
That's with all the fluid, and it was, what the hell is happening?
Yeah.
I go to my primary care doctor, and he prescribes me some water pills to excrete all that waste out, but it didn't do the job. I
No.
still kept a lot of it on board. I want to say I gained about 20 kilograms
Yeah, it's amazing
from all that.
how much you balloon up.
And I thought it was like, because I was working out at the time too. I thought this was muscle mass and,
Yeah.
fat just building up. But no, it's just fluid.
Fluid, yeah.
So I was about, I want to say this is 180 pounds was my max weight.
Yeah.
And within that time frame, I ended up going for an upgraded pacemaker to an ICD. So this time it can cardiovert me.
Right.
So, like putting the pads on and saying clear and here's some joules. But I've only had my ICD go off about 3 times, I think. But the reason they had the ICD implanted was to have a better control in case I do end up going unconscious or my heart stops.
So how does that have a better control?
So this time it actually kept my heart rate up in the 70s and 80s.
Okay.
So this time is that it was actually working compared to the regular pacemaker I had.
Yeah.
So this was more like a better option,
Yeah, yeah.
and it really did the job because just within, I think, 2 months of having it, I fainted outside and in the bathroom, and it cardioverted me back to
Wow.
life. And I had no understanding of what was happening because I was already unconscious, so I didn't
So
feel it go off or anything.
that's insane. Technology is mad.
It is.
Yeah.
But then when it shocked me in the bathroom, that's when I busted my nose and had like blood pouring all over. Went to the ER and they had no clue what to do. So they ended up calling like the hospital, had me, driven down to the hospital. It was about 2 hours of drive. And that's when they started like monitoring me more and trying to figure out like, why is this happening? And is there anything that's really causing it to escalate further? So at the time, my heart function was about less than 20%. So anything less than 50% or 55% is kind of in that red zone to really
Yeah.
watch out. But once you get down to 20 to 15 or even 10%, it's like you're fighting for survival. But then within that time frame, I went unconscious that very night as well.
Yeah.
And it cardioverted me again. And I woke up. I'm telling the nurses, like, it happened again, didn't it? All smiling like a happy
Like
lad.
nothing
And
had happened
like nothing
almost.
happened. And they're just looking at me like, dude, really? How are you like this joyful in this time?
So you technically kind of died twice in a way.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, you're not dead.
Yeah.
Uh, but then I can't remember anything after that moment. It was all a blur. And I wake up, and next thing I know is I'm in the ICU, and I have an LVAD.
Yeah.
So LVAD is a left ventricular assist device. So it's pretty much working as your heart by a source of batteries and other external devices.
Okay.
So at that time, I had an RVAD and an LVAD. So both controlling the left ventricular, the left ventricle and the right ventricle of my heart.
So these are all wires that are put into you or tubes.
Uh, so the LVAD was actually a machine that was
Yeah.
implanted onto the heart.
Okay.
And then you have a drive line coming out, attaching to a monitor that's
Yeah.
reading all your numbers and all your vitals. And sometimes you can be plugged into the wall, and that's your charging
Sorry, it
station.
just sounds mad. It
It
sounds so
sounds
bionic. Like,
it's crazy.
yeah.
And then the other option is having batteries. So you have like two lithium-ion batteries that are like the size of, I have no clue what to even compare it to. Imagine like an iPad times two,
Yeah.
almost.
Quite big then.
And it's pretty big.
Yeah.
And I had to carry two with me all times, but then I carried around four or six as backup.
Yeah.
But the charge time is between like 10 to 12 hours to have it on you. So you can go on a whole day and not have anything, go wrong.
So
But
was you in hospital at that point with these on, or was you back out of hospital?
so with that surgery, I ended up being in the hospital for about 33 days.
Yeah.
So I was more of a harder to control patient just because of how weak my heart was and how much fluid I had and all the other problems that came along with it.
Yeah.
So I was in hospital for about 33 days. And in that time, I think I was in the ICU for about, I don't know, 2 to 3 weeks almost.
Yeah.
And that's a long time to even be in there.
Yeah.
Uh, but then being in there, you have all the different side effects of, being, sad, depressed, and just wanting to be out of that place.
Of course. Yeah.
And one of the biggest things that they tell you is, uh, keep moving, because as long as you keep moving, that's how you get closer to home.
Yeah.
And so I kept on moving, kept on, doing my daily walks and everything else. And then I got progressed to the inpatient floor. So this is, a good sign that you might be going home soon.
Yeah.
So I was in the inpatient room for about 2 weeks, just adapting to everything, trying to get my levels and vitals all in a good area. And I will never forget, like, the moment the nurse comes in my room and says, "Are you ready to go home?"
Yeah.
That
I think everyone remembers that key moment.
it's just a joyful moment, really. It puts a smile on your
Yeah.
face, and you get to really go home and sleep in your own bed for once, and not
Yeah.
have like alarms or any beeping going around.
Yeah. People walking in on the night, taking temperatures and doing whatever.
Taking temperatures, taking your blood, waking up,
Yeah.
saying, "Did you eat or do anything else?"
Yeah.
But then at that time, I was pretty stable, but I slowly started having my right heart function, decrease a little bit. So they ended up putting me on 24-hour IV medication.
Mm-hmm.
So I had IV going in 24/7 at home that I can change out by myself,
Okay.
and I had LVAD on me still. So it's
So
pretty much all
you're carrying a lot of weight around.
I was carrying. I want to say, oof, 6 kilograms maybe
Yeah.
of stuff, and it's heavy.
Yeah.
Like the
Es-
LVAD alone is about 5 kilograms.
Especially when you're not at your fittest as well.
No, it's man, it was a rough time
Yeah, I bet.
because I lost about 60 pounds because they tried to get me down to my driest weight. That's when they know, like, my baseline.
Yeah.
Because anything over that is going to be alarming to, you know, having other side effects on your body. So around 120 to 125 was my dry weight. And after that, it was just a moment of time on being placed on the transplant list. So I was placed on the transplant list on September 12th of 2017.
Okay, yeah.
And then it took about less than 6 months, really. But that was too long for the doctors and nurses because of my condition and my state.
Yeah.
I was
When
not
you're
focused.
when you're on the list, because here basically you get put on the list and then they say to you, you can't go more than a couple of hours away from your home. You've got to have your mobile phone with you all the time. Is it similar there or the same there?
Yes. I think if you're not on the list, you're able to be more free. You can
Yeah.
go, further out of your zone. But once you're placed on the list, it's really crucial.
Yeah.
I think for me, it was about a 4 hour distance. So comparing from me, where I am, I can either go to Chicago, you can go to Minneapolis, St. Louis, or Omaha.
Yeah.
And within that range, that's about 4 hours drive. And I've only had to go to Omaha twice, and that was because they wanted to dual list me having both on in Iowa and Nebraska. That way it gives me a better chance and better, range of getting a
Yeah.
transplant. But just because how long I waited on that list, everyone was shocked because I was number one on the list to get in heart. But at the same time, it was very difficult because you have to look at the size, the
Yeah.
blood type, and then antibodies. So making all those come together, it's very difficult just to find a perfect match.
Yeah, of course. Did you get any false calls either? Because for mine, I went to the hospital 3 times, and it was the fourth time that finally I could have it.
Yes, so I got one false call. It was just the day after New Year's, uh, on so January 2nd, 2018.
Yeah,
I got a call about 2 o'clock in the morning. I looked at the the call. I'm like, it's whatever, mute it. And then it's persistent. It goes ring, ring, like vibrations everywhere. I'm like, who the hell is calling me at 2 a.m. in the morning? I pick up the phone and it's the nurse saying, we might have a heart for you. And at that time, I'm just still asleep, but I
yeah,
leap out of bed like I'm alert now.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
happening? So it took me about a couple minutes to process what happened, to call my parents to come in my room and help me get ready. And it was just like an instant. Everything was packed, but you had to be in the hospital within 2 hours.
Yeah.
So
I had an ambulance sent out every time. So they'd send an ambulance and then it would just blues and twos, sirens on straight there.
yeah, so it was different for us. You're pretty much on your own, unless
Yeah.
it was really critical, like you needed it right there and then.
Yeah.
Then you can probably have a local ambulance or helicopter fly you out. But at that time, it was just like meet us in 2 hours here, and we'll get like everything set up and process it. I got there, did all my tests and everything. So I was about 99% ready to go into the OR. But then the doctor came in and wanted to do an antibody count to make sure I didn't have any antibodies that will fight against it, or even the donor have any antibodies that'll fight against me.
Yeah.
Because that just makes it more complicated and makes you stay in the hospital longer,
Yeah, of
just to
course.
suppress all those antibodies and make it less immunocompressed, really. But it was a false call. The match was 99%. And that was really close. And, all my medications were alternated to be put on to the OR setting and to be ready for transplant. So they had to reverse all that medication,
Yeah.
pull me back, and then I was in the hospital for about maybe a week.
Oh, really?
And so I was in there for a week, and then they had to get rid of extra fluid that was on board, because that way would have been affecting me during the transplant, the
Yeah.
process. So that's where I lost, like, I don't know how much it was, 10 kilograms of fluid off. It was just
Yeah.
unbelievable how much you can excrete in one, time span in that week. But then slowly after, the fluid kept on building up to a point where the doctor wanted me to take different medication. So taking another medication ended up causing me to be having more arrhythmias, so irregular heartbeats and everything
Yeah.
else. And my electrolytes dropped down. My potassium was about 2 point something, 2.4, and that caused the arrhythmias to happen.
Yeah.
And then, I was defibrillated by myself, so my ICD shocked me back. And this time I was conscious. I felt everything.
Oh, wow.
And I saw it leap out of my chest. I literally saw it, come out. Like in the cartoons, you see a heart go up and down.
Yeah.
That's what I felt like. That's what I saw in myself. It literally came out and shocked
Jumped
me.
out.
And
Whereabouts was you at that time?
I was in the living room, just on the
Oh,
couch,
wow.
and it made it easier so I can go to the bathroom quicker than in my bedroom. But it shocked me. And the first time it shocked me, I was like, was this like a nightmare or a dream? And then not even probably 5-10 minutes later, it shocked me again.
Oh, wow.
And this time I knew what it was. I
Yeah.
was like calm as as calm as you can be. And I called the hospital and called 911, and they're like, "How are you this calm? Never have we met a patient this calm before." And I knew what was happening. I knew how everything worked. So I was ready to go.
Yeah.
The ambulance came, and they're expecting me to be, lying on the floor, couldn't get up. I had like a backpack on me. I was walking outside the
Like
door.
you're
They're
ready to
like,
go on holiday.
yeah, pretty much. And uh, those the firefighters who actually came with the ambulance, and they're looking at me like, we're looking for this person. I'm like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah. They're looking
And
past you for someone else. Like,
yeah, and I sit on the stretcher, get inside the ambulance, go down to the hospital. And thankfully the hospital is literally less than 5 minutes away.
yeah.
So I can easily walk there if I wanted to, but they transferred me there, did some vital check and make sure I'm like stable. But at that time, they ended up doing defibrillating me through the hospital. So they put on the pads and they shocked me back. Even though I was conscious, it was just my heart rate was just going tachycardic. It was really, it was 180, 160, almost 200 without doing any physical activity. So they ended up trying to shock me just to kind of bring that heart rate down.
So you was conscious when this was happening. What's that like? Like,
Oh man,
I don't suppose.
you don't want to even feel it.
No.
Uh, So one of the things is you're not supposed to do that when someone has an LVAD and conscious as well,
Yeah.
because the LVAD is controlling the heart still. It's still functioning and making you alive still. It's still beating as a
Yeah.
heart. But it was just the ICD was just kind of glitching a little bit, and my heart rate was just elevated. So it was literally shocking my heart to work harder, but I was still conscious and just feeling normal. But when they shocked me, they were going to do 200 joules, which is like extremely a lot of energy to hit you at once.
Yeah.
But the physician on deck just said, go to 50 joules. And they said, clear. And I was still conscious. Everything was normal. I'm looking around like, what's happening? I'm like, I never felt this conscious before. So when they shocked me, it felt like an exorcism. I leaped out of the bed and just screamed and cussed out everyone who was in there.
I bet.
And it was just nerve-wracking, really,
Yeah.
because you don't expect to see yourself in that position or even have that happen to you ever.
No, it's kind of the sort of thing you hope to only see in films.
Pretty much, it's something you
Yeah.
see on the like Grey's Anatomy or any other
Yeah.
medical show. But I was conscious and awake and alert. I saw everything was happening to me. What's funny also is, 2 years later, I job shadowed a physician, and I saw the same doctor who, said to shock me with the defibrillator, and she was surprised to see me, walking and everything with a new heart.
Yeah.
So, seeing how different perspectives can change, it's unbelievable. But at that time, it was just like it was not supposed to happen at all.
Yeah.
Uh, so after they did that, they wanted to have me sent out to my hospital again. So this time it was, crucial because of my state, and they ended up having me fly out through a helicopter down to the hospital. And I was in the hospital for about maybe 2 or 3 days, and then I was back home.
Yeah.
And this happened all around Valentine's Day as well. So what perfect way to, spend a heart day in the hospital for your heart? Uh,
Romantic.
oh, so romantic. Uh, and then I want to say about a month later, I get another call, and this time it was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon,
Bit more
and a
conscious.
bit more conscious, a bit
Yeah.
more normal, and not really sleepy. I get a call and I answer right away, and the nurse says, "We might have a heart for you. Would you be able to come down here in the next 2 hours?" So by the time I get there, we're prepping myself and making sure my medication's all intact. Didn't miss any doses. Make sure, you know, no infections, no sickness, no
Yeah.
nothing. Do like a variety of different tests. And then I want to say within 2, 3 hours later, they come back and say, we might be going in tomorrow morning around 4 o'clock in the morning for the operation. So, nothing to eat or drink after, I think it was 8 o'clock at night,
Yeah.
just because that time difference is a little bit different. So nothing to eat after, 8 o'clock or whatever. So I was surprised really to see myself in that situation, being ready for the next step. And I want to say I went full out on my meal: Doritos, a good sandwich, and have a little bit more sodium than I did before. Wake up the next morning and go down to the OR.
Yep.
Everyone in there knew me already because I was there less than a year ago.
Yeah.
And I do remember some of the faces, and I know the process. So I lay on the bed, I look around, have my batteries on me. Anesthesia comes out. They said, "Are you ready?" Numb me up, lidocaine to the max, central lines, art lines, whatever needs to happen. They said, "Count down to, was it from 10?"
Yeah.
And I didn't count down. I was still talking to guys, and I'm just talking. Next thing I know is I'm out.
Yeah.
I didn't even
Yeah.
start counting.
Do you I remember when I walked into the operating theatre, the theatre was cold, but the bed was, they had like a heated bed, it felt like. Is it similar there?
Uh, I mean, I do agree it is cold,
Yeah.
but I think they put on warm blankets on me.
Yeah.
I don't think the bed was really warm. I was thinking it was just like the blankets were kind of heated, so you had that extra warmth, but nothing to where it was like the full luxury, like a sports car where you have heated seats or anything
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. Yeah, no, like I say, I just remember it being really cold in the room, and then when I lied on the bed, I just thought, oh, this is nice and warm.
Yeah, I didn't get that luxury like you did. But yeah, that's pretty much the story of the transplant. And then, wake up, I see, uh, I feel much better. Like
Yeah,
I could not imagine how fast my heart was beating. Because at the time it was 120 beats per minute, which was, never have I felt that way before.
yeah.
And it was just unimaginable.
I was gonna say, like being new.
It, me being an athlete and doing all these sports and being so active, the fact that I can sense and feel how weak my heart was before
Yeah,
tells you, wow, like this
yeah.
is a major change.
So are you back doing sports and everything?
Uh, Not really. I kind of
Is that through choice?
my choice, yeah,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
uh, you know, staying fit with weights and
yeah.
cardio.
But
That's
but
like the biggest thing I've done.
but I mean, you are able, you're active, you're mobile, like
Oh,
everything's
definitely.
good. Yeah,
It's not
yeah,
like I can go play soccer right now and on the field. That'd be kind of a little bit more rigorous. I'm not trying to be like Ronaldo or Messi at
yeah,
right
yeah.
away, but I can go in the backyard and try to juggle as much as I can, or do some other stuff
Yeah, yeah, that's
and
good.
just play ball with my brother and have fun really.
Yeah, yeah,
But nothing too like sport wise. I did martial arts and I would love to do Brazilian Jiu Jitsu again, but at the same time it puts up pressure on you. Just knowing like at first in that first year it was more like riskier because your sternum is still fresh and not healing
yeah.
fully. But now as you progress further on you can do whatever you want really.
That's the other difference between your operation and mine is the fact that you have your whole, your sternum taken open, your rib cage.
Pretty
It's,
much.
I think that's epic.
Yeah, and you didn't have that much problems. It was just
No, I
major.
mean for a liver transplant, it's just a nice slice across the belly. It's not there's no rib breaking,
Yeah.
I mean that's just extra pain that you have to, extra healing afterwards, isn't it?
Yes. I mean, I'm guessing you were in the hospital for less than a week, right?
Yeah, I think it was 6 days in total.
Yeah. So
Um,
very different compared to mine. You
yeah,
know, uh, you have a sternal tape on you. You have to make sure there's no oozing, there's nothing really bleeding out. Just making sure there's no infection really, because that's the
yeah,
major thing. Because if there's infection, you have to go back in, clean it out, make sure everything else is clean as possible
yeah.
in that process.
The other difference from the lady that I spoke to that had the heart transplant is for me as a liver transplant, I had drainage bags put in afterwards, so it's sort of a tube on either side of the stomach, just below the incision,
Mhm.
and these two bags, and they were on there for like 3 days, I think. But that helps all the fluid, excess fluid, and that sort of
Yes.
help keeps it clean.
Yeah. So with the LVAD and the heart transplant, I think I had a total of 7 drainage tubes.
Yeah.
So those chest tubes, it was within the same area too, right above the belly button.
Oh wow.
It literally it's like tattoos almost if
Yeah.
you look at it. And yeah, I had about 7 total. Uh, I think it was 5 for the LVAD and transplant, but then for the pacemakers it was 2.
Yeah.
So total of 7 overall. But in that whole within 3 years, I had about 10 surgeries related to the heart.
Wow. Wow, that's insane. And like you say, I mean, you're such a positive, smiley. It doesn't, it obviously will have, but it doesn't seem like it's phased you too much. Or you've not, you've stepped through it very well.
Yeah, I mean, looking back, all the nurses, doctors, and everyone who was around me said, you're very positive for being in this, you know, this state of mind and this place, really. It was just a way of coping. If you stay positive, you get through it fast, you get through it better, and you kind of leave the negative thoughts. Obviously, there's going to be negative thoughts, but it's not like they're going to overcome you. You let positive overcome everything else.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
When you're dying, literally, I was dying before I got the LVAD. I fought to stay conscious, and it was unbelievable. And the LVAD was an emergent one. Well, I think was one of the first ones in the hospital that was emergency needed right away. Others are usually, you have an appointment set up, you come to a certain date, and then you have operation.
Yeah.
For me, it was within, a day I had it put in, and then learning the whole process, education of it all, and make sure you're eating right, staying active as much as possible, even with the edema that's on you.
Yeah, I mean, it must have been worrying for your parents as well at the time, obviously.
I can't imagine the stuff that they went through.
Yeah.
Mentally and physically, it was just emotionally as well. It's, you're seeing your firstborn go through something that they themselves cannot imagine.
No, and they have no control over, which for a parent's the worst part.
No, you're just trying to give your support and try to be there for them as much as possible. Give whatever you can to ensure that they live longer.
Yeah. Do you have any siblings, brothers or sisters? Yeah.
Younger brother.
Yeah, and because I think you said it was like a genetic problem to start. Has he been tested? Is there?
Yes. So the minute they found out like I had this problem, the doctor wanted to do also genetic testing and see if he has as well. And it came out that same thing, same deletion in the gene, and caused the same muscular dystrophy as well. His is a little bit more severe than mine, but not too severe. Still mild. We both have mild cases, but his mainly affect his calf muscles and his arms as well. Mine are mainly within my arms. It just doesn't allow me to do that full stretch. But it doesn't stop me from doing anything, really.
No.
I can still do push-ups. I can still work out. I can still read and write and everything else. So, it's, I'm thankful that it's at this mild case so that I'm not confined to a wheelchair or having other support, really, helping me, stay alive. That's one of the things I'm thankful for.
Yeah.
Even thankful for the heart transplant, be given the second chance at, at life again, to make a bigger difference and to educate more and, bring awareness to organ donation and tissue donation. Not a lot of people know about it, or they know more about the myths than the actual truth behind it all.
Yeah. I mean, your story is incredible. Like, I've never spoke to anyone that's had the defibrillator before. And to have that while you're conscious as well is just
it's
extreme.
It's extreme as an exorcism can be.
Yeah.
And when I say like I don't sugarcoat that. It was I purely leaped out of the bed.
Yeah.
It was unimaginable, really.
Yeah.
But I don't wish that upon anyone else, and don't want anyone else to feel that way or to go through things like that.
Yeah.
Rather, within my schooling right now, my future plans are to become a physician and help others. But at the same time, it's like, as a patient, you have a better understanding of what they're going through compared to a doctor who just got out of school and they don't know the other side of things.
Yeah, definitely.
Some might have it, but majority of them don't. So it gives you a best of both worlds to really understand a patient and understand where they're coming from and how to go forth with it all.
Yeah, that's great. That's really, really good. Had you wanted to be go into medicine and stuff before, or is this because of what what your life's gone through that you've taken this route?
Ah, man. So, in high school, I loved engineering. My goal in high school was to become an architect and go forth from there. But I want to say my senior year, just before graduating, I took an anatomy class. And at the same time, that's when I figured out my health problems and, seeing my heart as a big issue, 3 times the normal size, that anatomy, understanding the body, how it works, and being fit and healthy and, working out, it was just a good combination.
Yeah.
it just made sense to just pursue medicine and something within the medical field. And then at the university, I started off, majoring in biology and biochemistry, and just figuring out like, where is my area? What do I like to do more? Or what do I want to focus more on? So, I wanted to be a dentist, orthodontist, but then, physical therapy, but then medicine itself as being a physician and helping others within the hospital setting, just like the doctors were helping me.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do more of. So that's my future plans. I have an open mind, so I'm not really closed in on that. I'm open to different opportunities that come my way, different programs or whatever. But that's the ultimate goal that I want to reach.
No, I respect that. That's really good. That's really, really good. Well, thank you ever so much for like sharing your story. Oh dear. Yeah, thank you for sharing your story. I wish you all the best in the future and everything like that. And I'm sure there's going to be people that listen to this that are going to find it really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on board. It was a great opportunity to speak to you and get my story across. And if anyone else, is going through the same things or just needs that extra support and positivity, this video can help out. And if you ever need to reach out, my Instagram is armin.muza, and my email is attached there. And so feel free to reach out, and I'm glad to give the support.
Yeah, I'll put a link to your like Instagram on the video and stuff like that as well, and below this video. So anyone that does want to find you, yeah, find out. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Danny.
See ya. Bye bye.
Bye bye.